Hello and welcome to How to Deal with Grief and Trauma. My name is Nathalie Himmelrich. How to Deal with Grief and Trauma is completely self-funded, produced and edited by me, Nathalie Himmelrich. Consider making a small donation to support the podcast. Go to bit.ly/support, capital G, capital T, and podcast. I repeat, bit.ly/supportgt podcast. Thank you so much. And for more information, please visit Nathalie's website, join the podcast Instagram page, and subscribe to the newsletter to receive updates on future episodes. Welcome to today's episode. My name is Nathalie Himmelrich, and I'm your host. As we are slowly moving into June, I wanted to take some time to celebrate. On the 21st of June, 2022, I started this podcast. So it is going to be 4 years that I have been podcasting, and as part of that, I have prepared a mini-series. I think I love mini-series because it gives me sort of a topic, a span to think about it. So I want to welcome you to this very special mini-series. So as the podcast is turning 4 years old, I have been sitting with that number, letting it sink in, because when I launched this show in June 2022, I had no idea where it would take me or how many of you it would reach, how many of you would listen and continue to listen. And also, given the research that most podcasters stop after 3 to 5 episodes, I was just discovering how intense this really was and whether I could sustain it. So to mark this anniversary, I have pulled together the 10 most listened to episodes in the podcast history. And I'm doing something that I have never done before. I'm going to go back into each one, reintroducing the guest to you, summarizing what we talked about, and reflecting on why I think that conversation resonated the way it did. I would love to hear what you think, why it might resonate. So we're going to count down from 10 to 1. Let's start. Welcome to number 9. Number 9 is a guest that needs no introduction. Episode 75 is my conversation with David Kessler, and the question at the heart of it is one that almost every grieving person asks at some point. How long does grief last? Will this ever stop? David Kessler is one of the world's foremost experts on grief and loss. He is the author of 6 books, including his most recent bestseller called Finding Meaning, The Sixth Stage of Grief. He co-authored 2 books with Elisabeth Kübler-Ross, Life Lessons on Grief and Grieving, in which he helped update her foundational 5 stages framework for a new generation. He also co-wrote You Can Heal Your Heart with Louise Hay. His very first book, The Needs of the Dying, received praise from Mother Teresa. He's also the founder of grief.com, which receives a lot of million visits a year from 167 countries. And he runs Tender Hearts, an online grief support community, as well as one of the most respected grief certification programs in the world. I had a chance to meet David through mutual connections before this conversation, and what struck me was his genuine nature, his quiet sincerity as a person, and how he has devoted his professional life to sitting with others in their most painful moments. I had read many of his books before we even spoke, and I was honored to bring him to this audience. The central question of this episode, how long does grief last, is one that carries enormous weight. It's the question that I hear most often from clients and anyone interested in helping someone who is grieving. It's a question that comes from exhaustion, from the pressure of what others might expect of you when they say moving on, or from a deep private fear that if you're the grieving person, the fear that you will feel like this forever. And David brings both professional authority and personal experience to this question. He lost his own son, and that loss profoundly shaped his understanding of what grief actually is and what it asks of us. Now, his son wasn't the first significant and close person he lost. He also lost his mother at a young age. But in this conversation, we move through his work on the 5 stages of grief, the model he developed with Elisabeth Kübler-Ross, and into the 6th stage he introduced in Finding Meaning, the grief over time and how it can be transformed into meaning, a topic that is really dear to my heart. And this is not because the loss stops hurting, as he says, but because meaning can exist alongside the pain. We also explored what it actually means to heal from grief, and why healing does not mean forgetting, moving on, or leaving the person you lost behind. David is really clear on this. Grief is the price of love, and it does not have an expiration date. He often says, how long does love last? This is how long you will grieve the person. And what changes when we do the work is our relationship to it. David's work has meant a lot to me personally and professionally. As I said, I read his books well before we even met. And I've listened to his conversation with many people, and his workshop has been containing a lot of webinars that he brings to people. But in this conversation, it was really interesting to see a little bit behind what's written in the books and to get to know the person and his experiences. And what really struck me with David is he's a quite genuine person who is willing to share from him personally, really honestly and authentically. And this is probably also why I think this episode sits at number 9. It is because David Kessler is not just one of the most trusted voices in the grief world, but he's also the person, and the question that he personally explored is from his own life experiences. And this is what people can get when they listen to him. This question is one that no one can escape, and almost anyone asks. Whether you have lost a child, a partner, a parent, or a friend, at some point you will wonder, when does this end? And David's answer is not a quick one, and it's not a comfortable one, but it is an honest one. And honesty, at least to what I think in grief, is what people need most. So if you are in the middle of your grief right now and asking the same question, how long will this last? Will I ever feel this? Will I feel this bad forever? I encourage you to go back and listen to the full conversation in episode 75. David's words are worth sitting with slowly. You can find all the links in the show notes. Which one was your favorite episode? I would love to hear from you. In the show notes, there's a button that says send a text. I'll read every one of your messages. Take care. Until next time. Thanks for listening to How to Deal with Grief and Trauma. If you'd like to be updated on future episodes, please subscribe to our newsletter on nathaliehimmelrich.com. If you need grief support, please contact me for a 30 minutes free discovery session. How to Deal with Grief and Trauma is produced and edited by me, Nathalie Himmelrich. To support this podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe to or follow the podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you. And remember to keep breathing. I promise it will get easier.